I do want to ask you about a report that's out there because I can't help but think that this feels silly, but maybe it's real. I guess there was some legitimate heat once upon a time with Triple H and Goldberg. This goes back to 2000. In the year 2000, I guess Triple H is doing a radio interview. He's obviously there to promote WWE and their live events and pay-per-views and what have you. He's asked about Steve Austin, and he says he's the hottest thing in the business. He's asked about Goldberg, and he says something like, "I don't even think the WWF would want him," and he points out his flaws. And I guess that leads to Goldberg actually confronting Triple H, who was with Stephanie McMahon at the time, at a toy fair. And this becomes an ugly scene in public with Goldberg trying to address this, I don't know, slight from the radio. But man, I couldn't help but think to myself as I read this, like, what was Hunter supposed to do? He's promoting the WWF on a radio show. He can't be super complimentary of the competition. Isn't this old school? You're supposed to slag on the guy that is working for the other team. And it's all sort of understood that, hey, man, I'm in character and one day we'll work together maybe, or I don't know. But why would Bill be upset about this? Isn't that a little silly?
Yeah, I think so. But also, like to Bill's point here, because I talked to Hunter right after this. I mean, literally right after this. I said, what happened at the toy fair? I mean, I saw him, I think the same day or the next day or something. I saw, and he told me the whole story. So I wasn't there, but I got the feedback right away from it. If you're Bill, what do you do?
Right.
Now, think about this. You're in a toy fair. This guy slagged on you, whether it's a work or not, and it is. Obviously, you're using a promotional thing. Maybe you're shooting ribbon on the square. I don't know what what Hunter's viewpoints are, but of course you're going to bash the other big guy. You're going to put over Steve, and you say, "What about their guy over there in WCW?" You're going to bash him. We're in a competition. We're trying to make money. One group is going to go out of business. So this is the time that this is exactly what you do. Exactly what Hunter did. But I think what Goldberg did was pretty much what you do too. I talked to Hunter about, so what happened? And he said, Goldberg was really mad at me, yelling at me. And he said, and Hunter told me, he said, I don't know if it was a work or a shoot. And so, you got to ask Bill, maybe Bill was mad. Maybe Bill was working.
Right.
But whether he was or not, I thought what Goldberg did was the right thing. I mean, you got to come out. You see the guy that says all this crazy stuff about you. You're not going to wrestle him. You see him at a toy fair, and I understand. Oh, it's a work. Go shake hands with him. I get it, but there's a reason Goldberg's Goldberg and Triple H is Triple H.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, man, let's talk a little bit about when we first know that Goldberg is coming in as fans. We're all watching WrestleMania, and a commercial runs in the middle of WrestleMania for Backlash. That's when we know that Goldberg is going to appear. The next night after WrestleMania is going to be Rock Appreciation Night, and this is how we see the debut. Goldberg is going to spear The Rock. It's clear this is going to be his first opponent in his first program. What'd you think of the way they debuted Goldberg in the WWE? The night after WrestleMania, calling a shot with The Rock.
I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic what they did with him. I wish we'd have got him during the invasion. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons the invasion failed was because we didn't have Goldberg. We didn't have Hall. We didn't have Nash. We didn't have Bischoff. We didn't have Hogan. We had Booker T, who's a two-time Hall of Famer. We had DDP, who's a Hall of Famer. We had a bunch of great talent, but they weren't the guys that started the entire Monday Night Wars. That was Hall and Nash. And so if they're going to do an invasion, you got to have Hall and Nash. And you got to have Goldberg, the one star that WCW created. I guess you could say Booker too. I don't know if that you could give WCW credit for Booker or not. He was already there, and anyway. I thought Goldberg. We really missed out on the invasion. That's why when we talk about WWE working with companies now, they've done a horrible job the whole time I was there. I think they've learned their lesson. I think one of the reasons is, during that time was because Vince was still in the mindset of I'm still at war with these guys.
Yeah.
There's no war anymore. So there's a different mindset going into mergers and partnerships. But I thought it was great what they did with Goldberg. I just thought it was late. I just wish he had been there at the beginning. If he'd have come at the beginning with the invasion with Booker T, holy shit, that would have been good.
Yeah, no doubt. In an alternate universe, I would have loved to have seen it. We know that Goldberg is finally here the night after WrestleMania a few years later, and it's actually down 30% from the prior year's Monday after WrestleMania. So the Goldberg tease at WrestleMania didn't necessarily result in a bunch of views, but hey, maybe we'll get them in time for the big payoff with Rock and Goldberg. But on the way there,
yeah, but wait a minute. I read those notes, and I disagree with that. You got one, not with what you said. Facts are facts, but they say numbers don't lie, but numberers do, and so it's how you want to interpret these numbers. You can make it any way you want. Maybe it was Rock, maybe it was the rest of the roster. I mean, that was one part of the show that Goldberg was going to be there. And so I'm not a Goldberg apologist here. I'm not just here to stick up for Goldberg, but I see these numbers and people want to blame it on certain things. They want to blame it on certain biases that they have, that they want to take these numbers and go, okay, I want to find some numbers to justify my point of view. I think that's what this was. I don't think it was a matter of Goldberg being there that numbers are down. You got a whole rest of the roster. You got a Rock Appreciation Night. You got a lot of things going on here. I think it's unfair to blame this on one person that was one segment of the show.
I want to be clear. I wasn't even trying to remotely insinuate it was Goldberg's fault.
And I know you weren't. I should have been more clear about you saying that. When I read the notes, they were pretty adamant about what direction that they were going. I'm talking about older notes that came through,
sure,
your dirt sheets and things.
Well, Dave Meltzer was certainly breaking down that ratings were down from the prior year, but I would go with this. Ratings are down from the prior year, and that's why Vince finally brings Goldberg in.
Right.
Like, Vince was a businessman. He's managing the bottom line. He's not going to add a bunch of new expense unless he feels like it's absolutely necessary. And this is very much a time where, we think Steve Austin is going to be wrapping up. We know Goldberg is a big star, and we need a big star because The Rock's going to make movies. Stone Cold's out hurt. There's no competition. WWE has always done phenomenally well when there was competition, but now without any competition, well, fans are paying less and less attention. They had been in a downward spiral really since WrestleMania 17. Now, a lot of people point to the lack of competition, and don't get me wrong, that mattered. But turning Austin heel in WrestleMania 17, it started to peter out after that, just organically. So 2 years later, Vince hits the panic button and thinks, hey, how do we pull this nose up? We'll bring in Goldberg. It doesn't work on night one, but a lot of fans may not have even heard that Goldberg was going to be there. So you can't count someone's surprise debut. If that rating in a surprise debut doesn't do bananas, again, it's a surprise. How would anyone know? So we'll see if he can get the train back on track. Not Goldberg, Vince, with
right.
the presentation and what he's put together here.
Yeah, Conrad, you lose three of the biggest stars in the history of the business. You lose Stone Cold.
Yes.
And again, I can't say, I've said it so many freaking times. When I got there in 95, we couldn't give away tickets. We started to quit running big arenas. Vince said we can't run small arenas. We started running the Sportatorium in Dallas because we couldn't sell tickets for Reunion in Dallas. And Vince said, we just can't do that. The optics of that are just terrible. That's how bad business was. And then all of a sudden, Steve gets hot. Any building you put his name on in the world, we sold out with Steve. NWO is hot down in Atlanta. And now all of a sudden, we've got Steve who's hurt, and he's about to be gone. The Rock comes along, and for the first time probably in the history of the business, you have two megastars at the same time, The Rock and Stone Cold. He's about to go do movies. And Shawn Michaels, who was the heir apparent, hurts his back and is gone. We've lost three of the biggest stars in the history of the business, maybe the biggest stars. And all people are looking at it saying, well, you guys are having problems because you didn't have competition. No, we had bad luck.
Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, well, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next two house payments. That's right. You won't have to make your June or your July house payment. You're done until August 1st. Go right now to SaveWithConrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to savewithconrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at savewithconrad.com. Shoot me an email at conrad@savewithconrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105 or get yourself a quick quote. Even talk to a live person right now at savewithconrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Let's take a summer vacation from house payments at savewithconrad.com.